This month, Microsoft Office announced that OneNote, the program that can gather your notes, thoughts, ideas, meeting minutes, projects at home, projects at work, gather all that stuff in one place, make it searchable and shareable. OneNote, the full version for Windows PC desktop, is now available for free. They also announced that OneNote was available for Mac for the first time for free, and there's a bunch of cool new tools and apps you can get to get the stuff you want sent to OneNote easily. We're going to cover that today, a lot to do. Now, if you're trying to figure out where to begin, I'm going to show you where to begin. Just go into a browser and type OneNote.com. This is where you can download the version of OneNote that you want. They're all linked down here, but basically if you hit that free download button, it recognizes what device you're on. There's a touch version for Windows, there's the full version for Windows, there's apps for iPads and Android phones, for iPhones. You can get all that information, and then you can share your information across devices, which is one of the key things about OneNote. Also, we have these new tools. We'll talk about clipping for the web and sending an email, and plus some featured apps. You can get all that information and download, again, the full version of OneNote. It's out for a year. We've been updating it. Most people call it OneNote 2013. That full desktop version is now available for PC for free. You can go to OneNote.com and download it. So we're going to show you some of these tools, but first let me show you a little bit about OneNote and just talk a little bit about sharing. I'm actually going to switch over here to my actual OneNote. And if you can look on the left-hand side, I have many different notebooks. I demo a lot, but I have many for home, many for work. They're stored in different places. You can store them in OneDrive. That's the free area that used to be known as SkyDrive that has 7 gigabytes of storage. You can share and store photos, documents, just not Word documents, PDFs, text files, or whatever. 7 gigabytes of storage free, and you can put your OneNote notebooks there. You can also use OneDrive for Business if your business has that, or SharePoint sites. So these notebooks are in various locations, but they all appear on the same page, which is great. You can share very easily. Across the top, I have tabs in each of my notebooks. Each tab has pages. This is anytime I get a recipe, I throw it in here and I can have it and I can share it on my different devices for it. So that's how OneNote is done. And again, putting it in the cloud allows you to share OneNote to your other devices and to other people if needed. Let's go to this first service, which is sending an email. It's called me@onenote.com. me@onenote.com. Basically, you set up your email, and it can be any email service. Yahoo Mail, Gmail, I'm on Outlook, whatever. You set it up one time, and then when you go into your email service, and I'm going to go into Outlook here, any email that you want to send to OneNote, you can send it there immediately. A lot of times you get travel itineraries or important messages you want to kind of keep in an extra place. You can do that with OneNote. So let's say I was doing some stuff about the new OneDrive and I wanted to keep this. I can simply forward this, since I've set up my email, to, and again, it's not my name, it's everyone does the same thing, me@onenote.com. And then I'm going to send that to OneNote. So I've set up my email, and now I send it to OneNote. I'll show you where that appears in just a second. Let's talk about another new service, which is called Office Lens. This is available right now just for Windows Phone 8. It's a way to capture photos and documents and send them right to OneNote. And it has some filters. So I'll show you what this looks like in just a second. I have a receipt, and it's a crinkled up old receipt. Well, it's not old, it's from yesterday, but I crinkled it up. So I'm going to shoot this, and there's a filter that kind of looks for and crops the receipt so it doesn't capture the rest of the photo. And then I can send that to OneNote. You can also do things with Whiteboard that does a nice filter. I'll show you that in just a second. So I'm going to send this to OneNote. And one other thing I wanted to show you, which is called the a clipper. So I'm actually going to open up Chrome here. And if you use a different web browser, this has always been in Internet Explorer, but if you use any updated browser, Firefox, Safari, this is Chrome, you can go to onenote.com/clipper and you get this clip tool. And basically, you just move this little button, and as the arrow shows you, move it right up here to your favorites. And then when you're on a page, let's say here's a good looking webinar. I want to clip this to OneNote. You just go over here to clip to OneNote and click on it. sign in. You just do that once, and it saves it to OneNote. And you can just, anytime you want to save a page to OneNote, you can do it that easily. I wanted to show you a couple other things that you can put into OneNote and how those filters work for Office Lens. So here is a whiteboard that I sent using Office Lens. And again, if this was the photo setting, you can see there's shadow. I can't really see. I'm a little on an angle. If I shoot that now with the filter on Office Lens for whiteboards, it flattens out. I can read it a little better. Now, I purposely kind of did a whiteboard I couldn't read, but you get my point. The contrast, there's none of that shadow. It changes all of that into a whiteboard setting that you can use from your Office Lens phone. Also, you can put multiple pictures. So here, let's say you want to take pictures of an area you were going to possibly do a meeting at. This is a conference room a little bit nicer than ours. And then so I put some pictures in. You can do multiple snaps. Here's a whiteboard. Here's a document that was in the room at the time. You can load that up in Office Lens and send all of those at the same time. Now, everything I just showed you, Office Lens, the Clipper, and me at OneNote, all puts the pages in one place in your OneNote. It's the first notebook called My Notebook. Now, if you're a OneNote veteran, you might have retitled that long ago. It sends it to the first tab, which is called Quick Notes. You might have retitled that. So the thing is, you're trying to figure out, where did I send that? I have all these notebooks. Doug, you said this was going to be easy. Well, you can search in OneNote. So I look for Office Lens, and I can find where that went in my notebook, and I can see that it went to this notebook here called Office Lens, and there's my Quick Notes. There's the receipt I just shot, my crinkled up receipt. Even though this is crinkled, I can still search for words in this receipt. So if I type the word market, you can see it kind of yellows out. It appears in my search box on the right-hand side, and it also appears yellow here. So text that's clear. So from screen grabs, from signs, you can search that in OneNote. Here's that OneNote clip I made. So that's all there. All the links are working, and it has all the information that I need. Even has the link at the bottom in case I never needed to get it again. So all that stuff appears in the Quick Notes. Now the thing is, you can move all this stuff anywhere you want to. So if I want to move this to another tab, like up here at Project Background, up at the top of the page, I can do that. If I want to send something else to another notebook, let's say I'm keeping this in my business notebook, I can move this into another notebook on the left-hand side. And again, it doesn't matter which notebook it's in. I can send it to any of these. And again, it doesn't matter, since I'm signed in with my Microsoft ID, it doesn't matter what notebook it is. I can share all of them ridiculously fast. I might even rename this notebook, which I did name Webinar Notebook. I might rename that, my scans or something like that. But again, all those things and the things we're going to talk about in a moment, they all come to this page, and then you can move them around where you want to in your OneNote. So these are the featured apps that came out with OneNote that you can use that will send stuff to OneNote. And we'll dig into a couple of these right away. One is some news services, one called Weave. The other one is called News 360. I have an app of that open on my computer here. Let me show that. This is just a news reader that is a Windows 8 app. And as I go through, and if there's certain stories I see here, okay, I can click on the story, and if I'm reading this story about a new gully in Mars, and I like this story, there's a Save to OneNote button now, and I can press that, and as long as I'm signed in, it will save it to my OneNote. I don't have to think about it again. And all that text is searchable inside OneNote. Let's show you another one here. Feedly. Feedly is I would call it an old news aggregate, but it's really, it brings in, you can put in the web pages that you want to see, and it just updates it. So your old RSS readers and stuff like that, you can do it here. So I have several of my things that I follow, some sports, some cooking things, some things about computers and such. And if I click on a news story, here's one about the Mariners Youth Movement. There's now a button here for Feedly that I can save to OneNote. And I just click on that, and it will save the article to my OneNote account. That is free right now with Feedly. It'll be a service that's available if you're a big Feedly fan. If you're a Feedly Pro, it's a couple dollars a month that you'll be able to do that with Feedly. A couple other ones I want to show about. This is Doxy. Doxy does lightweight portable scanners. And some of them are even wireless, that you can, let me see if I can do this here on camera, that you can take a document and scan it very quickly, and then either wirelessly or the next time you plug in your scanner, you can save it to OneNote. So a lot of times when I scan things, it kind of goes to a mysterious folder and I kind of forget about them. Here I can send them to OneNote, and of course, some document like this with clear text will be all searchable in OneNote like that. So that's a Doxy, and there's some other scanners and printers. Here's one I had not heard about until last week that's pretty interesting. I believe we pronounce it IFT. Is that what we pronounce it? I-F-T-T-T, IFT. It has a thing called recipes, that if you do something, then something else happens. And now there's a whole bunch for OneNote. You can also build your own. It's a 7-step process just by clicking buttons. There's no programming language that you have to know. So basically what it does is you can use these recipes already that are built for OneNote. If you want to send your iPhone or iPad screenshots to OneNote, you can use this recipe. And OneNote has apps for iPhone and iPad. Follow new Craigslist postings. You can use that recipe. Here's one I like. You can favorite a tweet in Twitter, and then it stays kind of in Twitter. You can just send those automatically to your OneNote and have them there in your OneNote. And again, all of that is searchable. So that is IFT. And again, there's lots of other services that you can use to get things to your OneNote. OneNote, the desktop PC Windows version, is now available for free. That's the full version that we've been talking about for a year. You can also get free apps for iPhone, iPad, Android, all your devices, including Mac. That came out new last week too. Plus, there's all these new services: the Clipper, Me at OneNote, Office Lens, scanners, readers. If you're a developer, there's some links that we have in the Office blog. You can figure out how about using your own services to make OneNote apps. All that information, including if you're new to OneNote, I have some links at our main page for this blog post, which is aka.ms/more-OneNote. We'll have the video up for this webinar in a few days. Information about the Office webinar series in general, go to aka.ms/offweb. Leave us notes and comments there, what you would like to see. All of that. Next week, we'll be doing a kind of an in-depth Q&A session. But for today's Office webinar team, thank you for joining today's Office 15-minute webinar.